What is going on, college basketball fans? Today we are back with the Dannyology Power 35 rankings, and we do these every single Monday morning. They will be uploaded on the channel, so make sure you guys hit that like button and hit that subscribe button so you guys don't miss our rankings video and don't miss any other college basketball content that we have here on the channel, because we are going to have a ton more coming out. Also, let me know down below in the comment section, do you guys agree with my rankings, disagree, who should be higher, who should be lower? Let me know all that down below in the comment section. And yeah, guys, let's get it started. To start us off, we have the same number one team. For 3 out of the 4 weeks, we have had Arizona as our number one team in the country, and they are coming off of a excellent win, dominating win over Wisconsin, who I had last week as my number 20 team. So to dominate them the way that they did, super impressive. And this team is just so stacked. They have so many good guards. They have a really good center in Omar Ballo. I'm a big fan of Kylan Boswell. As you can see, I have him here in the background, and he's going to be in the thumbnail as well. I think he's one of the better point guards in the country. He's super fun to watch. This team is very deep, a lot deeper than I thought it was heading into this season, and Tommy Lloyd may have his best squad that he has had so far as a college basketball head coach. The Wildcats are staying number one, and really our top 7 are all staying the same. They have all won their games this week. Some of them have won bigger games than others, but honestly, I feel good about this top 7 that I had last week. And I'm going to keep it the same here. Purdue is number 2. We're going to get to see later this week Arizona versus Purdue. That is going to be an awesome matchup. How will Omar Ballo do against Zach Edey? I definitely think that Arizona has the better guards in that matchup as well, though. It's going to be a ton of fun. And Arizona has an awesome defense. But Purdue, of course, can put up some points as well. So can Arizona, though. So it's going to be a fun matchup. We're going to learn a lot about these two teams this weekend. I cannot wait for it. But Purdue staying there at number 2, Kansas staying at number 3. Even though Purdue, Kansas, and UConn all have one loss, I still believe that those teams are better, or at least more proven, than my 5 and 6, which are Houston and Baylor, which are undefeated teams. I still feel like Purdue, Kansas, UConn, more proven teams at this point, more solidified top 4 teams in my personal opinion. Then we do have Houston and Baylor, which are undefeated teams, but aren't as proven. Have some decent wins on the season, but nothing, too crazy. They haven't had the gauntlet of scheduling that those top 4 teams have had with only one loss. So that's kind of where I'm getting by. That's just how I feel. These are my power rankings, and I feel like they're more proven. Number 7, we do have Marquette. They do have 2 losses on the season to Wisconsin and also Purdue in a very close matchup, but I still believe that Marquette is easily a top 10 team in the country. That the way that they play, they have so many good guards. Cam Jones, Tyler Kolek is maybe the best point guard in the country. Iguodaro is an excellent player. Like, Marquette is pretty stacked. They're easily a top 10 team. Oklahoma jumping into the top 10 this week. Yeah, how about them here at number 8? I did not expect Oklahoma to be undefeated this year, and they are doing it by playing some pretty decent teams as well. They beat Providence and Arkansas this week. Those are 2 very solid teams, 2 teams that I believe, we got the Providence shirt on here today, 2 teams that I believe are going to be tournament teams by the end of the year, and they beat them pretty handily. I mean, the Arkansas game was kind of close throughout. Arkansas hung in there, but they beat up on Providence, and they beat Arkansas, ended up by like 9 points. Like, those are 2 very solid wins. For Oklahoma to be undefeated as well, they definitely deserve a top 10 spot this week. Number 9, we do have the Creighton Blue Jays jumping back up into the top 10 here at number 7. They do have the one bad loss to Colorado State. Not a bad loss because Colorado State is a bad team or anything. As you can see, I have them there at 19. But a bad loss because they lost by so much. But watching this Creighton team, like, there's no denying this is easily a top 15 team, and I think a top 10 team. Their roster is very loaded, and Creighton, the top 3 teams in the Big East are just loaded, man. And Creighton is coming in here at number 9. Number 10, we have another undefeated team. It is the Clemson Tigers, and they've definitely impressed me in their big rival game against South Carolina. Both teams come into it undefeated. Clemson got it done, and they have some pretty decent players in there as well. Do I feel comfortable having them as my top ACC team? Will that last? I'm not sure, but right now they are definitely playing like it, being undefeated. Number 11, we do have North Carolina, only dropping 1 spot. They did take a loss to UConn this week, but UConn, as you can see, I'm very high on them. I have them at number 4, so that loss isn't going to drop them down too much, just 1 spot out of the top 10. Number 12, we do have the Kentucky Wildcats, that are jumping up 12 spots here, mostly because I do believe, because they did take that bad loss last week, they fell really far. Now they're kind of jumping back up because some teams ahead of them kind of fell. But I feel good about them here at number 12. I do believe that Kentucky is a top 15 team. Like, I feel safe saying they're the top 15 team in the country. They have excellent freshmen, good veterans. I really like this Kentucky team this year, and I feel good with them being here at number 12. Number 13, we do have Tennessee, and I kind of use Kentucky and Tennessee. You know, they played a common opponent in Kansas. Kentucky did play them a little bit closer, which kind of gave them the edge here for me as far as like my top SEC team. But they're neck and neck, and I cannot wait to watch these two teams, Kentucky and Tennessee, go at it. Once we get into conference play, is going to be an excellent game. But Tennessee jumping up 6 spots here, with a win over Illinois this week, and Illinois beating FAU earlier in the week, which we'll get to. Definitely helped Tennessee jump into the top 15 once again. Gonzaga dropping down 6 spots after losing to their rival, in-state rival in Washington. I mean, Washington is a sneaky decent team this year, but definitely Gonzaga should not be losing that. It is a rival game, though. We'll see if they can bounce back. Gonzaga has an excellent roster, still staying in the top 15, but jumping out of the top 10 here at number 14. Number 15, we do have Illinois jumping up 16 spots, and that's kind of weird for them, because they did go 1-1 this week. But one of their losses is to Tennessee, which is ahead of them. Their win came against what was a top 10 team for me last week in FAU on a neutral court, so that jumped them up quite a bit. Illinois definitely playing like a top 20 team for sure. I have them up here at number 15. Number 16, we do have James Madison jumping up 2 spots, staying undefeated, doing what they're supposed to do. How about them Dukes? FAU coming in here at 17, dropping 8 spots after their loss to Illinois. I feel like this is a fair spot for them here at this point in the season. Still have an excellent team. Still hands down a top 20 team in my opinion. But they do have to drop a little bit after that loss. Number 18, we do have Northwestern. And Northwestern is a team that's climbing 5 spots this week. Got the only team to beat Purdue so far this year, and Northwestern, they have really good guards. I think they might actually be better than the Northwestern team last year, that got a win in the NCAA tournament. I really like this Wildcats team. I have them up here at number 18. Number 19, falling a little bit, is Colorado State. It really sucks for me to have them drop after they have 2 really good wins. That's going to help carry them all the way to a bid in March Madness with wins over Colorado and that big win over Creighton. That one's going to carry all the way to March 100%. But Colorado State has an excellent team. One of my favorite mid-majors teams to watch this year. But they do have to drop after that loss to St. Mary's. And you think, St. Mary's, St. Mary's is a good team. They shouldn't drop too much. Well, St. Mary's isn't that great this year. And yeah, they still have an excellent head coach in Randy Bennett, and they're still a tough team to go up against no matter how good they actually are. And I could definitely see St. Mary's maybe turning things around, but at this point, it's a bad loss, and Colorado State is going to jump down 7 spots to 19, but it's still their first loss on the season, so we'll see if they can bounce back from it. Number 20, we do have Ole Miss finally ranked on the year. Not only are they ranked, but they're all the way up in the top 20 here at number 20. Undefeated on the season. Chris Beard's Rebels are playing very good. They have not played too much competition so far yet this year, so I'm looking for them to maybe play some better opponents here soon, so we can kind of get a better grasp on them. But they did beat Memphis, which I think Memphis is a very solid team. That's an awesome win for them. They definitely deserve a 20 spot right now. Number 21, we do have BYU, only dropping 6 spots after losing to their biggest rival in Utah in the Holy War. They were undefeated before that. BYU, I have a trouble kind of getting behind them right now. I kind of feel like they're going to fall off when we get into Big 12 play a little bit. Do I think that they are a tournament team? Yes, I do. But do I think that they are going to stay in the top 25? I'm not so sure, but we will find out. They could definitely prove me wrong. They do have some solid players. Number 22, we do have Colorado. They got a big-time win over Miami today, as I am recording this video on Sunday night, and they killed it, man. Destroyed Miami on a neutral court, and they are not only jumping back into the Power 35, but they are jumping all the way in the top 25 at 22. Number 23, we do have Texas dropping 12 spots, one of our biggest fallers here from last week, and I was kind of backing them a little bit. Like, they didn't have Kane Shedrick, they didn't have Dylan Dessou. They still don't have Dylan Dessou, which I think is going to be huge for them when he does come back. But the way that they got blown out this week, they have to fall a little bit. They're down to 23. I still think they're going to be a solid team. Dylan Dessou gets back, they get into conference play, they get a couple Big 12 wins. They could definitely climb back up. But right now they have to fall a little bit for sure. Number 24, we do have Auburn. They got a big time win over Indiana this past Saturday, and I was not expecting. I was kind of expecting a pretty good game. Khalil Ware, Janai Broom. That's a good matchup. But I don't think Indiana is going to be that great this year. Actually, they're a little bit worse than I thought, or maybe Auburn's just that good, man. I think they deserve a 24 spot right now. After that game, that performance, they do have a bad loss to Appalachian State, but their other loss came to an undefeated Baylor team in a close game. And I think Auburn is the top 25 team right now, so I got them at 24. Number 25, we do have Wisconsin, dropping 5 spots. You could argue that they should drop more after that embarrassing performance against Arizona, but Arizona is so clearly my number 1 team right now that getting blown out by them and dominated the way that they did, it's only going to drop you 5 spots right now, especially because Wisconsin has been playing so good this season and have some solid wins over teams like Virginia and Marquette, that they're going to stay in the top 25 here at 25. 26, we do have Virginia. They've been playing excellent basketball lately. They only have 1 loss, so that is to Wisconsin, who is 1 spot above them. But ever since then, they have been playing very good, and they could sneakily maybe end up being one of the best teams in the ACC this year. So look out for the Cavaliers and head coach Tony Bennett. They could definitely be pretty sneaky. Number 27, we do have the Memphis Tigers. They just got a big win over Texas A&M. Definitely a team that I think is going to be very good throughout the year, and it's definitely going to be a sneaky team come March Madness. They have a veteran team, a lot of experience on this team, and I really like the Tigers as a sneaky team, and I have them here at number 27. Number 28, how about New Mexico jumping into the power rankings this week? They didn't really beat any big name schools this past week, but they have just been playing amazing, and I think they have one of the best guard duos and one of the best guard depth in the entire country, and that's just not counting mid-majors. I'm saying the entire country, the entire Division I college basketball league. New Mexico has some of the best guards in college basketball. The Lobos are looking very solid this year. Put them in here at number 28. Number 29, we do have the Duke Blue Devils jumping up 6 spots this week. They didn't really play anybody that great, but they are jumping up a little bit. I do believe that Duke is still a very solid team, and they're here at 29. Number 30 had a very good week, and I was very high on Drake. I actually think that did have them ranked in my Power 35 in the first one that I did this year, but then they took a loss early in the year, and then they kind of fell out of it. But they've been looking very good as of late. They got an amazing win against the Nevada Wolfpack this past week, who were undefeated, and they played great, looked great in that game. Drake Bulldogs are back, and they're back in the Power Dannyology Power 35, and they're here at number 30. Number 31, we do have Texas A&M dropping 7 more spots after that loss to Memphis. I still believe that they are a top 35 team at this point. We'll see if they can rack up a couple more wins this week, but they're here at 31. Number 32, we do have Mississippi State. This team has been playing pretty good so far in the season, and that is without Tolu Smith, who was going to be their best player coming into the season, who had an excellent year last year. So when Tolu Smith comes back, I believe Mississippi State's going to take a big jump, and they could be a sneaky team come March. 33, we do have Kansas State. I feel like Kansas State is very underrated this year. You know, they had such a good year last year, making it to the Elite Eight. Marquis Noel, they had Keontae Johnson. Of course, losing them, but they did pick up Arthur Kaluma, Tyler Perry. Like, they have a solid squad this year, and they're underrated. They didn't get off to the best start this year, but they have definitely been picking up as of late, and I have been noticing. I think Kansas State is very, very slept on this year in the Big 12, because there's so many good teams in the Big 12 this year, especially with surprises like BYU, Oklahoma. But Kansas State is definitely a team to not look past this year, and they are in the 35 this week. Grand Canyon, I think, has had the best week out of any team in college basketball this year. 2 very, very solid wins. They got their first ever win against the AP Top 25 team in Grand Canyon University in their school history. First time they've ever beaten a Top 25 team against San Diego State at home, storm the court, and then what do later in that week? They travel on the road to Liberty, all the way across the country to the East Coast, and defeat Liberty. The Liberty Flames are actually a very good mid-major as well, so that is another very solid win. Grand Canyon is cooking, and they have had the best week in college basketball this week, and they're here at 34. Number 35, we do have Utah, and Utah, as I mentioned earlier, they beat their biggest rival in BYU this past week, and BYU was undefeated. Utah, even before that, all year long, has been playing very good basketball, and I believe they deserve a spot this week here at 35. My teams to watch this week, teams that are close, if they can pick up a couple of wins this week, they could definitely make it into the Dannyology Power 35 next week, and that is St. Joseph's. St. Joseph's, if it wasn't Grand Canyon, St. Joseph's may have had the best week in college basketball, and maybe even the best couple of weeks of college basketball the past few times. Like, ever since they lost to Kentucky in overtime, they defeated Villanova. They've been defeating some very decent teams. Like, they just beat Princeton, who was undefeated. St. Joseph's has been cooking. They are definitely a team to watch in the A-10 this year. They could take that league. Princeton on my team to watch. They've been in my Power 35 all 3 episodes before this, all 3 weeks before this, but they took their first loss. They did fall out because they did lose to St. Joseph's, but they are both right there, and definitely still watching both of them. San Diego State did fall out this week after they lost to Grand Canyon, but I still believe San Diego State is an excellent team. They're going to get things turned around. They're going to be back in these rankings very, very soon. Butler has been a very pleasant surprise this year in the Big East Conference. I mean, other than Marquette, UConn, Creighton, who's going to be the 4th best team in the Big East? I think it's going to be between Butler, Villanova, and probably St. John's. Am I missing somebody? I feel like I'm definitely missing someone. I almost certainly am. I just can't think of right now. But Butler is creeping up in there, and the way Nova's been playing so up and down lately, you know, they could take it. Alabama on my team to watch. Once again, I believe they have an excellent team. They're going to be in these rankings, or they're definitely going to be ncaa tournament team by the end of the year. But right now, I don't believe they deserve it over the rest of these 35 teams. Iowa State is a team that I am very high on. I just couldn't quite get them in the rankings this week. And Miami is another team that is very, very good, as we all know, has made back-to-back Elite Eights and made the Final Four last year, and are returning a couple of those players from that Final Four team, and a very solid team, but they have taken a couple of losses. They just took a bad loss to Colorado. They're going to fall out of the rankings this week, but they can definitely get back. So let me know what you guys think about the Dannyology Power 35 this week. Do you guys agree? Do you guys disagree? Let me know down below. And yeah, guys, subscribe for more college basketball content, and thank you so much for watching.